There's a saying in the fight game, sooner or later, the mouth writes a check the chin can't cash. History is littered with fighters who strutted into the ring with swagger in their step, venom in their words, and not a shred of respect for their opponents, only to be handed the kind of defeat that doesn't just bruise the body but dents the ego. Some fighters let their fists do the talking, others let their lips do it and hope their fists can back it up. And then there are those who forget that the ring has a way of punishing arrogance with swift and merciless justice. This is a collection of those moments, the times when cocky warriors, dirty brawlers, and outright rule-breakers got humbled in spectacular, sometimes poetic, fashion. In 2019, the stage was set for a unification clash in the bantamweight division. Emmanuel Rodriguez, defending his IBF title, stood opposite the Japanese phenom Naoya Inoue, the WBA champion. But the real story had begun before the opening bell. Rodriguez and his trainer had made a critical error, not just in underestimating Inoue, but in openly disrespecting his father. It was a move that didn't just cross a line, it practically signed their own doom. Still, when the fight began, Rodriguez looked sharp. He met Inoue in the center of the ring, trading crisp shots and proving he wasn't there to roll over. Judges saw it close early, and Rodriguez's corner grew confident. But Inoue's calm wasn't weakness, it was the silence before a storm. In the second round, that storm arrived. A single thunderous left hook detonated on Rodriguez's jaw with surgical precision, and his legs betrayed him before his mind even registered the blow. He hit the canvas like a trapdoor had been yanked from beneath him. The Scottish crowd roared as he somehow beat the count, but Inoue smelled blood. He sent Rodriguez down again with another precise attack, and when the Puerto Rican rose for a second time, it was his final mistake. Inoue's third knockdown was so vicious it looked less like a boxing finish and more like a public execution. The referee waved it off. The lesson was clear: respect isn't given in the fight game, but disrespect can cost you everything. A cage rage tournament. Attila Kubel faced Richard Bolk in what was supposed to be a clean, competitive bout. Before a single punch landed, the night took a sour turn. Bolk approached for the customary glove touch, a symbol of respect, and Attila responded with a cheap shot that stunned both his opponent and the referee. The crowd gasped. The referee paused the action, warning Attila that such behavior wasn't just unsportsmanlike, it was downright dirty. But Attila wasn't there to play clean. He earned himself the nickname Rat-Tilla within minutes, peppering the match with foul play, illegal knees in the clinch, punches to the back of the head, and even refusing to release his opponent when told. The referee's patience snapped. He physically pried Attila off Bolk, locking him in a chokehold to stop the madness. The scene looked more like a street brawl broken up by security than an organized fight. In the end, Rat-Tilla didn't just lose, he was disqualified and sent packing in disgrace. Glory Kickboxing in 2018 delivered another infamous chapter in the book of dirty tactics. Harit Grigorian was dominating Myrtle Groenhart with clean, powerful strikes, inching toward victory. But in a shocking turn, Groenhart attacked from behind while Grigorian's back was turned, landing a sucker punch that sent his opponent crashing. The crowd erupted in outrage, and before the referee could restore order, Grigorian's teammates stormed the ring like a pack of wolves. They swarmed Groenhart, furious at the blatant cheap shot. The incident caused such an uproar that the promotion was forced to schedule a rematch. In that rematch, Grigorian entered with eyes wide open, literally checking over his shoulder to guard against Groenhart's rat-like instincts. But this time, he wasn't playing defense. He was setting a trap. From the opening exchange, Grigorian unleashed precise, punishing combinations. Groenhart went down, and the victor of their last meeting now found himself saved only by the referee's intervention. Revenge, as they say, is a dish best served with leather gloves. Russia's bare-knuckle tournaments have always been a breeding ground for raw, primal fighting spirit. But in one particular match between Zalimkin Dukov and Ivany Kardinov, the spirit turned sour. Kardinov took early control, landing sharp punches while Dukov's wild swings hit nothing but air. Frustrated, Dukov abandoned any pretense of skill. He tried to tackle Kardinov, a blatant violation of boxing rules, and even hit him while he was on the ground. The referee issued warnings, but the rat-like behavior continued. A clean punch from Kardinov nearly sent Dukov packing, yet he still found time to sneak in an illegal shot to the back of the head. Finally fed up, Kardinov delivered the ultimate reality check, a single, brutal blow that dropped Dukov and left no room for argument. When you come to fight dirty in a clean contest, sooner or later, justice lands on your chin. Back in the late 1990s, the larger-than-life Eric Butterbean Esch faced Jackie Beard, a chiseled, athletic opponent who seemed eager to prove that speed and skill could dismantle size and power. From the opening bell, Beard peppered Butterbean with shots, dancing away from the slower heavyweight and taunting him with every miss. The arrogance grew round by round, with Beard mocking his opponent's size, gesturing as if the fight were already won. But between rounds, Butterbean's corner offered him an unusual boost, a shot of chocolate syrup. Whether it was placebo or pure sugar-fueled rage, something clicked. Butterbean came out in the next round like an angry freight train. He charged forward, cornered Beard, and unleashed a massive right hand that connected flush. Beard went down hard, his mockery erased in an instant. Butterbean had flipped the script in one swing, reminding everyone that power, when it lands, is the great equalizer. Bernard Hopkins, one of boxing's all-time greats, was known as much for his sharp tongue as for his defensive genius. In his prime, he made headlines by declaring, "I would never let a white boy beat me." Those words lingered in the boxing world, largely unpunished, until 2016. At age 51, Hopkins sought one final fight before retirement, facing Joe Smith Jr., a hard-hitting, blue-collar New Yorker with something to prove. From the outset, Smith dictated the pace, battering Hopkins with body shots and right hands. The legend who had once been the executioner now found himself the hunted. In the 8th round, Smith backed Hopkins into the ropes and unleashed a flurry, finishing with a right hand that sent Hopkins flying through the ropes and crashing to the floor outside the ring. Unable to continue, Hopkins was handed a technical knockout defeat, the last fight of his storied career ending not with his arm raised, but with a fall many saw as poetic justice. Showboating is a time-honored part of combat sports, but Ben Whittaker's antics against Liam Cameron showed the risk. Known for his slick footwork, flashy moves, and mid-fight dancing, Whittaker tried to clown Cameron from the first bell. Cameron, unimpressed, walked through the taunts and began landing heavy shots. Whittaker's smile faded as his face bloodied and his legs wobbled. In the ultimate humiliation, he stumbled out of the ring and refused to continue, citing injury. Officially, the fight was ruled a draw, but in spirit, it was Cameron's victory. The quiet fighter had done what flashy footwork couldn't. He broke his opponent's will, and Japan, a teenage fighter known as Yaman, faced the established bully Ishawa. From the start, there was no glove touch, just bad intentions. Ishawa tried a surprise attack, but Yaman was ready, dropping him with a big right hand. The youngster pressed forward, looking to take the bully's head off. A powerful kick floored Ishawa again, and by the time the referee counted, it was clear he couldn't continue. Yaman's message was simple: youth, skill, and humility can dismantle arrogance in a heartbeat. Muay Thai has had its share of bullies, and in 2016, one of them met his match in Tenshin Nasukawa, a prodigy barely out of high school. Facing a seasoned Thai fighter with a reputation for taunting and toying with opponents, Tenshin wasted no time. He unleashed a barrage of strikes, moving with the precision of a video game character, landing blows from every angle. Within minutes, he pulled off a flying knee that looked ripped from an action film. Then, moments later, a spinning kick that connected flush on the jaw. The veteran collapsed, the fight over before it had truly begun. The boyish-looking Japanese fighter had dismantled a bully with speed, creativity, and ruthless efficiency, and another Muay Thai clash. Seok Pumpenmuing, a fighter with over 300 bouts to his name, faced the towering Charles Francois, a champion in multiple organizations. Francois had size and experience, but against Seok's mastery, it wasn't enough. Seok toyed with him, making him miss wildly before punishing him with sharp counters. A lightning-fast left hand dropped the giant, and when Francois rose, Seok sent him down again with another left. By the third knockdown, Francois looked less like a seasoned fighter and more like a man wondering why he'd agreed to the match. Seok's performance was a reminder that in Muay Thai, skill trumps size, and disrespect is met with painful consequences. And then there was Badr Hari, the bad boy of kickboxing, whose volatile temper was as famous as his knockout power. In a backstage altercation with Peter Graham, fists flew before either man had stepped into the ring. When they finally did, it was war, both men charging forward, refusing to give ground. Hari's power began to tell, his punches snapping Graham's head back. But in the third round, Graham unleashed his signature move, the Rolling Thunder, a spinning hook kick that landed flush. Hari went down, and when he rose, Graham struck again, sealing the win and delivering one of the most satisfying knockouts in kickboxing history. Across these stories, one theme emerges. The fight game has no patience for arrogance without substance. Whether it's a sucker puncher getting stormed by a rival's teammates, a taunter tasting the canvas after a single clean shot, or a decorated veteran learning that words can come back to haunt you, the outcome is always the same. In the ring, justice is swift, unforgiving, and often poetic. The humble warriors, those who let their fists speak, may not always be the loudest before the bell, but when it rings, they make sure their message is heard loud and clear.